Hey folks, Twisted Christian. Today I want to give you guys a prophetic update concerning the crypto and stock market and what I'm expecting prophetically to happen here in the next month or so, because I believe that we are actually living in a prophetic moment where we're actually living in a current prophecy that is happening right now. First, folks, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just bringing and sharing information and giving you my thoughts and my opinion on that information. Right? And if you guys like these videos that I make, the support links are down below in the description, the PayPal and the Patreon and so on. All right, so for over the last 3 or 4 months, we've discussed off and on and more recently over the last month and a half, some of these prophecies dealing with the stock and cryptocurrency markets. And these prophecies come from Fireside Grace Ministries, Robin and Brandy Cunningham. And as you can see here, there's a number of videos I'm just kind of showcasing just to show some of the really important prophecies concerning the stock market. And these are really hitting on point right now. And so I have a lot of concern, especially if you live in Canada. And for those who listen, just to make sure that, that you are able to take care of yourself and make sure that you have food and necessities. Now, what I'm giving you an update on is not just some of the videos that I've did in the past, but even more recently, what was going on with the truckers and how that could affect the economy, the stock market, and all that. So if you guys have not watched that video, make sure you watch that video. You are going to hear some of the same things as far as prophecy in this video, but we are living in that prophetic moment right now where what's going on in Canada is going to affect this nation, the stock market, and the cryptocurrency markets greatly. So also, folks, make sure to go and give them a subscribe and keep up with what's going on. There's so much that's out there, and seeing some of these being fulfilled right now, it's very exciting, but it's also scary at the same time. Now, keep in mind that we have what's going on in Canada, but it's actually has been spreading all over the world. You're not going to hear it on your local CNN or your local news or anything like that, right? You actually have to dig for the research. Facebook is blocking a lot of that stuff. And a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing is actually on Twitter. And you're seeing all these pictures and videos from all over the world. So I'm going to go ahead and play these videos. And throughout this, I'll stop and commentate, give you some additional thoughts, and show you some other news articles. This video here is from August 31st, 2021.
The Lord said vax mandates will cause whole airports to shut down because, and this is other buildings as well, or other jobs, because many will refuse to fly or to work. You will see what will be called mandate strikes, which will force the hand of governments and states and local governments and companies to lift their vax mandates.
All right, so you heard what he said. A lot of people probably thought that what was going on with our airlines was what he was actually referring to. But what's happening is that what's going on in Canada is that this is actually sparking protests all across the world. Now, I want to pull up this article. I believe this is Australia, and this was February 6th. Canberra Airport warns of more delays by anti-vax mandate protest in coming days. They're getting ready to bring this airport to a halt, and I believe that you're probably going to start seeing that more and more in certain places. But he also talked about just the mandate strikes by themselves. So that's when he first started talking about this. Right? So this here is just a small example of what's getting ready to happen on a worldwide basis, just like we saw with the truckers. It started small. Now you're starting to see it happen all over, right? Not just in Canada, but it's spreading throughout other countries. Now, I believe this is the one that's very important because this one has to do with exactly what's going on. And that was back on October the 14th, 2021. Now, what I do expect, prophetically speaking, now, there's 2 major drops, both in the crypto market and in the stock market, that I believe that are coming. And the first one is this what he's referring to as the lightning strike and market explosion that has to do with what's going on in Canada right now. All right. Then the next one after that, after we get the rise in the stock market and the cryptocurrencies going on its first run that we've been discussing, then at some point after that, that's when we see when things seem at their worst, and the Dow is dropping and all this other stuff is going on all around the world.
And hear the Lord for yourself on this. This is what I saw, okay? I saw a vision of a lightning strike hitting the crypto markets. It came down like a flash, and it was very heavy and weighty. I don't know how to explain it. It was very, it was like a fluorescent bright blue, okay? So that can represent revelation, communion, stuff like that, fellowship. But anyway, it came down. It was a very bright blue. It was very heavy, and it hit the market, and the whole thing sagged and went, boom, and just went like it was already going down, and then the weight of it came down right in the middle, and it went like that, and then all of a sudden it exploded, just like that. Okay, and then here's what I was praying about that, and I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. There's going to be a lightning strike that's going to hit the market. That's going to cause it to crash. But why the explosion, Lord? And I was praying, and the Lord said, listen, he said, there will be nationwide strikes that will cause a flash of lightning, strike, flash of lightning, that will cause a flash drop in the market, but will result in a sudden explosion. Okay? That's what he said. I don't have a time frame. Now that's not for, it's the stock markets and it's crypto. I believe it was both, because it was just like everything kind of jumbled together. So what I would recommend is keep your eyes peeled for when you see in the news. Don't bother watching the news. You'll see it pop up in your articles and stuff, or on your recommend. If you have Yahoo, they recommend news articles to you all the time. So someone will tell you, watch to see that they'll be calling for walkouts to happen, that they'll be calling nationwide for nationwide strikes. When that starts to happen, then you can expect that sudden crash, because if nobody's working, these businesses are not making money. And if they aren't making money, then who wants to invest in them, because they're losing profit, and then their price goes down.
All right, so we talked about both the crypto and stock market together crashing, the lightning strike, and then result in an explosion due to what's going on with these mandates. All right, so that is what I am expecting to happen. And when I couple this with Dr. Maria Conwell and the first wave, I believe that after this particular prophecy is around the time that we'll, in this explosion, that we'll see that first run. Now, one of the things about this first run in Shiba Inu and the two waves, what usually happens when a tsunami is coming in? What happens to the water that's usually on the beach? Quickly pulls back out to the ocean really quick, right? So I actually see a massive pullback before the waves hit. And that's what I felt like the Lord was sharing with me about the tsunamis and the beach and the water and how it recedes back out into the ocean. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play this short clip. This was back on November the 24th.
And so what the Lord told me was that the truckers were going to be given a mandate to get the jab, and they're going to strike. I had mentioned this a while ago, that there would be mandatory strikes, I think was the title of the video, and everyone thought I was talking about at that time when I put that video out that there were going to be strikes like the 18th, but the 18th was when there was like a market dip or something like that, but it wasn't this one. But there's going to be strikes. There's going to be a loss of things, of money coming in the near future. Okay.
All right, so once again, he talks about the truckers striking and what's going to actually take place. So again, we need to put ourselves into position and whatever exactly that might mean for you. All right, now we're going to go a little bit into BTC because once again, we're living in the prophetic moment. And I believe this is what we're seeing with Bitcoin. And I think a lot of these prophecies are lining up with each other, and you're going to have these events happening at the same time.
we are going to see yet another lowing and curtail of the market, the stock market, revolving around events that are set to transpire in Canada. So that should be interesting. Next, the Lord said, expect to see massive power outages in Canada that will drive down Bitcoin prices. I'm not sure why it would drive down Bitcoin prices, but that's what I heard.
So that is part from the video that I made the other day when he prophesied on, this was on February the 1st. So he's bringing it up again. And then he also talked about the Canadian power outage. So if you live in Canada, again, like I mentioned in the last video, you need to make sure that you are prepared for that. When you couple this with a lightning strike explosion, this is all lining up with the prophetic words that he is speaking. And that's why I believe that this is the moment and this is getting ready to happen.
Okay, now here's the Bitcoin part. The Lord showed me several visions of Bitcoin. The first was about a week or two ago, and it was that Bitcoin had recovered from a very low number to up to 42K, and I thought that I saw a spike that went up to around 45K. So use your discernment and seek the Lord on that for what's right for you to invest and how. And I just saw that one spike, so don't be like, he said it was going to go up to 45, and then it goes up over that, or it's just below it. You know, it is what it is. But I saw solidly up to 42K, where that was a pretty solid state, but a little blips up here and there. Then I saw a man bowing down low, and I heard the Lord say, curtail BCC. And I didn't know what curtail meant, but it meant to like cut it off, basically. So it was curtail Bitcoin, which causes a sharp drop. Then I saw a picture of an ox bowing low, like this, you know, bowing its head down and its legs out, kind of like when a dog stretches, under a very heavy yoke. And the Lord said, I saw after that a graph of all of the coins, crypto coins, making a very sharp drop. It would look like a reverse bell curve. It went down like this. I feel like, because the Lord had specifically said, and I wrote this down, it made a sharp bell curve, like half of a U shape, but I didn't see anything beyond that. So I thought that it was interesting that the Lord would bring it to my attention that he was saying it was a bell curve, because, you know, when you take a bell curve, there's like a mean, median, range, like there's an average of something that goes on. So I feel like that's saying, look, take these things and you could probably find something. I don't know what it is, but I think that bell curve was important, and that's why he highlighted that to me, and I underlined it 3 times. So that's what I saw, and I asked the Lord, why a bull? I understand a person bowing down to show, stooping low, swooping, but why an ox? And he said it's a bull. The bull will bow low. So there won't be a bull run at that point. If it's bowing low, it's submitting. I'm sure there will be a recovery, but what I saw was that there would be a submission. Okay, folks?
All right. Once again, I think that this is in synopsis with everything else that is going on. So with this, what it is that people are going to think that there's going to be a bull run, and then the bull will bow. And I think this is where we see the market lightning strike and explosion. I think this is where we see the pullback before we get the tsunamis. Okay, so listen, let's go back to the prophetic word when he was talking about Bitcoin having a recovery. Now, that was around, when he made that prophecy, it was around 33,000, right? So from 33,000 to 45,000, a lot of people, remember, were freaking out that they thought that Bitcoin was going to go even lower to maybe even 20,000 when it was in that lower 30,000 range. But what he said was that it was going to hit to around 42,000 and then spike up to 45,000, right? So that's about what we are seeing right now, right? And it's actually hit 45,000 a couple times in the last couple days, right? So there's going to be an unexpected drop, right? Maybe it'll drop down to 42,000, and then we're going to have an unexpected drop, right? That's going to be more than 13%. And so there was another prophecy also too as well that he also talked about Coinbase, a flash crash on Coinbase, and then also to what's going on in Canada with the power outages affecting the price of BTC. So I'm wondering if all of these events are together going to be happening around the lightning strike market explosion, right? And with Maria Conwell's prophecy, and like I'd said before about the water on the beach and how it recedes back out to the ocean, and that's a pullback, right, on the pricing. Just to kind of go back over what's going on in the news with the trucking. Canada trucker protest, automakers seek injunction to clear bridge as U.S. warns of a Super Bowl copycat. Now they're afraid that here in the United States, and they're already talking about it, doing something similar, right? And then the other thing is here, trucker protest at border shut down auto plants as U.S. official warns of broader impact. Paris, Brussels ban Canada-style freedom convoys. They're still going to let them do it, but they just have to do it. They're going to have to park in empty parking lots and stuff like that, which is pretty crazy, but it is spreading. And then, like I showed you earlier, what was happening in Australia, and this airport is about to be basically gridlocked, shut down or whatever because of what is going on. And he did mention that. So I know a lot of people thought maybe it was for that time period when that was happening, I think in November and December. But I think this is something that's completely different with the trucking. And if you guys actually go to Twitter, and you can see what's going on. That's what I just showed you, what was going on in Australia. Right, you see all those people out there, right? You see all these people marching, right? And then you see this big long line here. I mean, they are really doing it. And this is actually happening all over the world. I'm not going to keep showing from all these different countries because it is happening in Europe and just like I said, across the world. Then you take a look at this article. The trucker protests in Canada prompt Ford, GM to scale back work at auto plants. And they're actually shutting down some of those plants. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to take a look at what's going on in the stock market. And I'm looking at GM right now. No major impact yet. Now, Ford is a Prophetic stock, right? And it's the one given by Kim Clement. So I'm going to be looking to see that when this lightning strike happens, to see if I can't get back into Ford because I missed out on the opportunity because I completely forgot to get back in. So I don't know how far this is going to go down. And so just keep that in mind as far as that. Right? And I don't know if this flash crash will have anything to do with McDonald's in the 61. I don't know if the 61 cents buy limit orders that we're supposed to put in is going to be for now, or is that going to be during the major, when things seem at their worst, crash? This article, truck blockade over Canada's rules disrupt auto industry on both sides of the border. So this is actually spreading, folks, and a lot of people, depending on where you live, again, if your city or state does a lot of trade, you should expect a lot of things not to come in, depending on what that actually is. But I believe about 25% of our meat comes from, here in the United States, comes from Canada. So over there, they're already experiencing it. And not only that, this is the other thing that people don't understand or realize, especially for those who support people going in and being able to steal and take. And they did all that through the riots and all through now. There are people that just walk into the grocery store, grab a shopping cart, fill it up, and walk right out. Across the United States, people were told not to do anything or say anything. And so theft is the other thing, theft of meat and all these goods, that adds to inflation because the company that is selling that product has already either paid for that product or has to pay for it in the near future. So it's going to be an automatic 100% loss when people do come in and they steal food. And a lot of times it's just not people who don't have anything. Working at the grocery store, I saw a lot of people steal. And it's just amazing. I even myself stopped a person from stealing and told him he had to pay for it. And he pulled out a whole wad of 20s. Unbelievable. So some people just do it just because they have the means to pay for it. A lot of people do it because they think they can get away with it because they've been doing it since we've had all the riots in 2020. So I want you guys to be prepared in several different ways, and that's make sure that you're prepared, that you have enough food, water, and if your power goes out, especially if you're in Canada, how are you going to deal with that, right? And then preparing yourself while this crash is getting ready to happen and put yourself in the position, be like, okay, like for me, I'm not buying any more cryptocurrencies right now. I've decided that I'm not. And when this thing does happen, hopefully, I'll be able to be at my computer so that I can, for myself, swing trade some of this stuff, right? When it does happen. So what I expect right now is a brief financial crisis, both in the stock market and then in the cryptocurrency market, right? Then after whatever the bottom is, after it happens, then we're going to see the explosion. And I believe that's in synopsis with the first wave, with the 2 tsunamis and the water pulling back out, right? That's at the same moment when the stock market is also coming down. Being in February, with today being February the 10th, and I shared with you guys that I believe that Dr. Maria Conwell, when she was referring to that first wave, that it's either going to either hit or start around the 17th. That means we can actually see, starting on the 17th, the pullback, the water pulling off the shore, and the lightning strike hit. And then after that, then we can see the tsunami coming in, and we'll see the stock market explosion. So I'm excited. I'm also scared at the same time that we are actually living in this prophetic moment, because what's going on in Canada right now is exactly what he has been prophesying about. Strike and explosion and the mandates and all that, all this right now. And we need to be watching some of those stocks. I'm watching Ford. I'm watching a lot of other stocks, right? There might be be watching Zion Oil, because if this happens, if the economy is locked up, well, what happens? The price of oil is going to go down too. So that could have a major effect on some of the other prophetic stocks. Right now, most definitely, like the cryptocurrency, like with Shiba Inu, I'm expecting it to drop from where it's at right now to maybe back to where it was a week ago, or maybe even lower than that. But just keep in mind that this thing over the next week could spread, and the markets have yet to catch wind of this. If you understand what I mean, the markets yet haven't responded to this, and that's when I think that when investors that's when you see like a lot of major investors are like, hey, wait a minute, we got this big mass protest that's happening all over the world, and literally goods are not being shipped. People aren't working. People aren't getting on the planes and traveling. So all this, the rest of it just remains to be seen. And with Bitcoin being where it's at, so looking at the price right now. Because the price earlier, like I said, it hit 45,000 a couple times. Now it's going back down to around the 42,000 mark. So is that when we're going to see the unexpected drop? So there's some things that I'm looking for, folks. So we all need to be prepared. We all need to be ready, and to make sure that we're in position. Because, folks, I've been saying these things for the last several months. If you have been watching this as entertainment and now you're trying to get yourself together, it's going to be, you're going to end up making a lot of mistakes. Yeah, and we're very, very close to this first wave beginning. And we know what's coming. So don't be upset or dismayed or freaking out when you're looking at your trading accounts, because we're going to be seeing this. So I'm pretty excited. I'm looking forward to seeing some of this take place. And it looks like February is going to be a very good month when I look at this prophetically and where we are at. I believe that we are here, we're living in the prophetic moment, and the prophecies with the truckers just, to me, I'm still mind blown by that, because you couldn't have seen that you couldn't see that without God giving that to you. I hope you guys understand that. So anyways, folks, that's all I have for today. It was just a quick update on what I see, what's coming, what to expect, and get ready to buy into this big dip. So I thank you guys for listening. God bless. TC out.